Sure. And so next we have our SQL speaker, Ivan Ma, a very experienced speaker with 20 years of experience, 20 years plus, and he is right now our SQL team as our principal solution engineer here, Ivan. And he's going to share with us a tool called Security Technical Implementation Guide from the Department of Defense from the US. So that's called STIG. It's up to you now, Ivan. You are ready for your talk?
Yes, I'm ready.
Yep. So we're interested to know about it because you're just telling us it is not accessible from Hong Kong anymore. We need to have some special ways like VPN to go through.
Yeah, I will share. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let me share my screen. So can everybody see my screen?
Yep, we can see your screen now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can press F5 to make it bigger.
Should I start? Should I start or wait for another few minutes?
Yep. Is everyone here? Let's see. Yeah, by the way, we are going to have a group photo at 5:15. So yeah, just stay around to everyone. If you can turn on your camera later.
Shall I start?
Yeah, sure.
In English or Cantonese? Who else is actually in here? So everybody.
Yeah, is everybody maybe 可唔可以俾啲 respond 我大家喺個 public 嗰度 just type something.
At least Stephanie is here.
Yeah, okay.
Do you want to have a Cantonese talk or English talk? 你哋想聽英文定聽中文咧？唔該。
The matter is if we have English people here, foreigners, so we speak English better. Am I correct?
Yeah, David is here, so yeah, let's speak English.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is actually the second security talk today, right? So thanks David actually introduced the first one. So my talk is regarding data. Okay, the process that we have gone through. Okay, just half an hour ago. So today, my name is Ivan Mar. So from Oracle. So basically, I have been with professional service and as well as database Java and all this speaking for quite a bit of time. And today, this is getting as like a best practice how to deal with the data. And one of which, we are talking about is on MySQL. So getting to start, I tried to share my browser at the beginning. So this is the website, public cyber mail. So I just tried to put it in the chat room. So see if you can actually access to it. So there are actually the download and also the tools. Okay, you can actually download the tool and also download the reference materials from there. I believe if you cannot download access to the sites just because US, the Department of Defense, they block us. Okay, they block Hong Kong IP. Okay, so I'm able to look at those materials and just a matter in here, if we look at this, and there's actually a search bar. Okay, if we like to look at Linux, okay, if we like to look at Kubernetes, okay, something like this. There are things actually talking about how to secure, okay, how to secure in best practice, but how to read this is actually talking about the tools, okay, how to use the tools and to read these materials. Okay, let me go back to my talk, okay, and we'll be back to this demo, in a few minutes. So basically, the STIG. The name Security Technical Implementation Guide is like a best practice. So people actually can use that to handle like handling what they're doing. Okay, for today, we're talking about data, and I'm represents Oracle for the MySQL, and then taking this opportunities to show you how to use that. Okay. So after this, I will actually try to do this demo and then look at some of the items, and then we get to talk about the overall. Before to get down to the details, today I heard a lot about like Kubernetes.
Excuse me. I think Ivan got a lag, so let's just wait for him until he get connect back. Right. Yeah, I see Kelvin is moving. I see I'm moving, so Ivan got disconnected. Just be a bit patient. 我哋個 speaker 啱啱斷咗線。啊，佢翻到嚟啦。頭先啱啱斷咗啊，你啱啱係啊。
Oh, sorry.
頭先你啱啱講到你就咁喺呢個 slide 度啱啱講咗2句之後斷咗線。
Oh, okay. Sorry. So basically, this morning we have been hearing a lot. Okay, Kubernetes, and that's why I tried to put this up as well. So people using data and provisions the server, and not just the process, not just the applications, but also database. And MySQL is one of it. And microservice, and most likely people actually petition the data in the way small, so many independent databases that they can offer the service for data. And in such a way, they would need a more handy and easy ways to apply. And right now, if you go with like the GitHub or actually the even MySQL documentation, you should be able to find MySQL operator. Okay, that's another tools that it has been GA'd. Okay, it's not just beta, it's not just for testing, and it's GA and people can use it. So it's quite handy tools. It actually handle like the custom resource definitions with the InnoDB cluster for the HA. It actually handles the backup with the CRD. You can define the backup profiles, and then it's automated schedule, and then do all this backup automatically. So today, I just want to give you a name that you can actually scan for and then go next. Okay, not the right topic for today. And there's others, actually people look up about the cloud and cloud native and the way, and as well as like AI machine learning. So I bring this up as well. So MySQL actually on the cloud, we can actually do machine learning. And on top, rather than the data itself, it can actually, of course, to do all this operating data, and people do all this selling and whatever banking and the systems. That's what we call this OLTP. And there are also analytic system which tries to do a lot of analysis because the data is there. And in the past, people tries to extract data and then put it somewhere else, and then analyze the data, which take a lot of things, talking about ETL, talking about some other skills, and talking not just SQL, but some other ways to do it, and you have to bring in other skill sets. So what today actually has to be handled. And we have the like backend big data engine, we call this Wave, and the MySQL actually storing data, and the data actually in this so-called InnoDB, and it will be cached and to another cluster of machines, which is memory-based machines, and data can actually be here and there, meaning the same SQL statement will be actually intelligently to do all this like quick and very fast executions and getting data back. So that's why we have on the left-hand side, OLTP as application. You can also create OLAP applications. And one of the great things here is the machine learning. So what is the machine learning? I believe because machine learning meaning data to be trained in the model, right? So we need to get a model and to predict some other things to happen, and also to explain and then to drive back what we apply. That's why this is actually, we have the data to train and also to test. So the train and test, kind of the things that we just petition them, maybe 80% for the training and then 20% for testing, is up to you. So by then you know the score, and then you know how accurate, okay, we are doing, whether we are actually doing the machine learning for the classification type or actually regressions or all this. So it's actually built into this so-called MySQL heat wave. So I just bring this to here, okay, before this section, so you understand MySQL actually is in the innovations, and then we are getting to not just stay there and then not moving. MySQL is actually improved a lot and then do a lot of big things. Okay, let's start to the right topics today. So STIG. STIG, as the name itself, is actually created by the Defense Information System Agency, like the US DoD, and it is like the standards. Okay, for all these like US agency, they need to follow the rules. Okay, to implement something. For one, today we are talking about MySQL. They have been doing a lot, with the data and MySQL, so they have to follow the rules, to implement how they actually deploy MySQL, to confirm and conforms to the standards, That's what the technical guidelines, and to so-called harden the system or to lock down the information system in here. So the Federal IT Security, as the agency, has to comply with this like the standards. So that's why it is quite useful for us to look at what this is, and then because it is secure, right? And one of the things that who must follow, right, as mentioned earlier, so that's many U.S. government agency require, the person actually doing this, to follow the rules and to comply with all the standards. And they have to implement MySQL, and then they have to follow, and then to go with the like 8.0, because all the things that actually put in the materials that can be handled in the 8.0 rather than to the outdated versions. Things will keep updated, to the 8.0. What we cover in this, actually we call these enterprise editions, and it is like the basic. People has to go with the audit, because data, we have to find a way to know what people is doing, right? So the auditing, and and in US, they need to external authentications to master, how people actually is doing this username and password, instead of a simple just a table storing the username and also password in there. But externally, they use some LDAP systems to handle the username authentications. And there's also how they encrypt the data when actually the data is written on disk. That's what we call this data at rest, right? Data at rest, it has to be encrypted, because at the end, data is written on the disk, and somewhere else the storage. So people looking at the storage with the Unix account, with the OS account, basically can see it clear. So MySQL just to write the data there, and then people can see it clear it's actually vulnerability from something else. And people hacking your machine likely is not just purely on the protocol working on the database, but actually likely 90% or even more hacking the OS and getting all the data back. So that's why the data in the OS or actually network has to be encrypted at rest. That's why encryption at rest or even on the wire in the network traffic has to be encrypted, as well as other things, access control, who get access to the tables, database, and operations. And also internally, how the kernel, the database can get to the firewall. It's not just network firewall, but actually like layer 7, the SQL injection, how can we prevent that, from the kernel by itself when the database actually start up, is trying to handle SQL. So the SQL and the applications is built to kill the data, to insert the data by what? By constructing the string, which is the SQL string. And very likely when constructing the SQL, people can do something very harmful, right? So if we try to put up a web page and asking for a name, people can actually get the name and construct a SQL statement where the customer name equal to something. But when we put the name and then we know how they do this, and we can construct with the, say, for example, semicolon, drop a table or drop a database or drop table customer or set password or whatever. So it simply actually alters something you might not be interested to know, right? So because it harms your data, it actually may break your system. And there's also how to back up and in a secure way, and as well as how to do the data masking and so and so. So all this, so what people actually looking at this STIG is like it is publicly available, and people can just as what I mentioned earlier, we go to the download site and then search for MySQL, and it will be there, and we can use the viewer and then to look at all these steps. And no matter this is government agencies, they can use, but also we can use because they are all the steps. It's all there. So we can do this, okay, later on to do it with everybody in here. So where it is published, as mentioned earlier. So all this step, we establish the database, and then we can actually do this, whether there's this comply to the practice, and we use the viewer and the STIG download, and then check what we do next, right? And then we fix one by one. There is actually the severity or category, whether it's Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3, whether it is very important to us to fix it, or actually we can do it later. So there is actually the practice. There may be just guidelines. Guidelines means it's up to you, right? So, but it's actually the Department of Defense for the agencies to comply. So to download, as mentioned earlier, this is the link. And then, yeah, you go to browsers and then we search MySQL. There is actually a control and it has the version, and we can download the file. It's a zip file. And we can use the tools, which is the viewer, and then to import the files. Okay. So what that means in here, it is, so if I go in here, I have, yeah, the tools. And then I just run it. It's a Java for my part. So the Java's running in here. I have import a few things in here. One is the MySQL, and there's also a Kubernetes security technical guide, as well as on Linux specific versions, how to secure. So just take and look at this. There are so many items. How many? It's in here. So if I just go with one by one, you see there's the items right here. So there is actually showing the rules 102. There are 100, okay, rules that we can take a look. And like the first one in here, it is a Cat 1, and the Cat 1 means this is 30, okay, and the classification and class for now. And it is talking about what to do in here, okay. So the authorizations, actually how to do these authentications by looking at what, and then there's things actually in here. We can execute this, and then by looking at this, we know what happens. So this is actually the plugins, whether there is actually authentications going through the windows, and also looking at the PAM, there's anything about the plugin install regarding LDAP, PAM, as well as the window authentications. So, and they are expecting what to do with the LDAP. Okay, what's to do with the PM, what's to do with the Windows. So all this, and then if you get none, that means what you do can actually be how to fix it, okay? So there's the way how you actually put in the LDAP and configure correctly, okay, how to process, okay, the informations, okay, in order to connect to your LDAP servers. And that's what the way it is easy for them to get the practice out. And we may actually look at the other one, that's actually the Cat 2. And this is talking about the, for example, to restrict the number of connections, okay, for the users to connect. So how this actually, we can check it. So basically there is the way how you check, okay, by default is what? Is nothing. It's actually 0, is unlimited. But for the questions, okay, for security reasons, maybe for certain users, you may actually need to account for certain numbers, which may be only 50, right? So there's actually the way we can set, okay, the maximum users that can connect is 50. It's not maximum connections, it's the user connections. And also for specific user, whether there is actually concurrency, how many users at the same time should be able to connect. So there's actually the way, or we can actually search by items. For example, what to do with the audit. So when we do this audit, and then what we can see in here, that specific, the ID is 97. The 97 is like, okay, how can we produce audit record? So in here, we can actually see how to enable, or whether there is actually enabled audit logs. So if that's for the case, there's all actually looking at audit log, and whether there is actually encryptions to the log file, to the informations on this, okay? So all this actually, we should be able to see it clear from this documentation regarding security. So that's the way we can do this really handy, right? So at this time, if you look at this, you can see this. It is quite a very useful tools for us to bring the database, MySQL, to be a next level, a secure database for your secure data. So security is really very important, as David actually mentioned in the first slide, right? So data is even the matter. Okay, it's the king. You lost the data, you lost the company, you lost everything, right? You don't even know who is the customer because somebody actually pay you, but you don't know who actually pay you, and then how can you deliver the goods to them? Okay, back to this slide here. So once we get all this, we can actually run it as mentioned in here, right? So all this together, I hope you can actually see it is quite useful for us to bring the security in actions. Okay, so again, when we go back in here, we can actually create the items, whether we have already done the category, like here, there is actually a chat list. We can create a chat list. Okay, so once we create a chat list, and then we can mark, okay, what item and which host, okay, we are doing, okay, for a specific item. And then once we get all this, we can actually check whether there is actually the checklist doing correctly. So there's a marker whether we have already done all this 101 items. Okay, so it can be cat 1, cat 2, and cat 3, right? So I hope today this the tools is actually getting the next level for your data security. Hope this you can enjoy today. If you have any questions, let me know.
Yep, so if you have any question, you can just type it on the screen. And I just have my question. It's like, I know this is a very helpful tool. And as I hope my background is not too noisy. It's a very helpful tool, but it's like there's so many documents to read up as a newbie. So like, let's say if I want to, how can I able to search or something specific?
Okay, so just for example, okay, I take an example from the browsers in here. So yeah, what I was doing is MySQL, right? So what if I want to look at the search, okay, anything about search? There is actually Google search appliance, so we can actually download this, okay? Or is there anything like Java, maybe JRE or JDK? There is actually JDK, or I think there's something, yeah, even Tomcat, right? Whatever. So this actually how we deploy in Tomcat. So let's just do it. I'll click and download, okay? And then I have it. So because it's actually in the trash, I need to move it back. This, okay? I need to move it back somewhere else. Let's say in the download, whatever this is, in here. So I move it back to here. Okay, and then I can go back and then open this. And what I do here is I can import the STIG.
Right.
Okay, and then I can go back to the download. Sorry, yeah, there's actually use something download, use something Apache and the zip file, right? And then I just import, and you will be able to see this. You see, and now it's all about how we do the Tomcat. Am I correct? Am I looking at the? Remove this first. Remove all filters.
Like there's so many documents that's like so. I mean, there's so many things out there. Like, is there any recommended thing that we all just, let's say if you are beginner, like how shall we start? Is there any good one that we can start reading first, or we just like, you know, work as we go on? You just happen to have topic and just search it. It's like a dictionary, right?
always we have some objectives to do, right? So basically, if you're managing your database, you're managing your Tomcat, you're managing your security regarding something, you just work on specific things. If you are deploying MySQL, that's what you do. If you actually do the OS, then you have to choose your OS, okay? And then you actually put in the way, and then look at this, how you can actually comply, or actually you have the idea how to do this. They have all these rules, okay? Right here, in here is talking about for the OS is, well, quite a lot, almost 400.
Yeah. That's why it's like so many, you know, it's like, I'm not going to read 400. So that's why it's like, it's so hard. But of course, like, I know it's like dictionary, you happen to come to that question, you go to it.
Yes. I would say that you may actually look at the CAT one first, right? Because the CAT one, like the severity, how they do this, it has to be from the importance. Look at the importance and then look at those, and then tries to implement or actually look at what is this actually your concern. Yeah, things they concern may not be your concern, right? So it's not always true, because this is just like a guideline, and it's created for the US and specifically. So it is a nice thing that taking care, okay, some sort of security in here. So bring this in actions, and everybody happy.
Thank you very much, Ivan. Yep, for introducing.
With MySQL, I have like the enterprise editions and regarding security, talking about how you do monitoring, how you do masking, encryptions, firewall, audit, and it's all go along with the versions. Okay, so I hope today things clear. If you have any questions, let me know. Okay, thank you.
If anyone won't have any question, actually, it's going to be a break session right now. So it's free mic section. Ivan will stay here. You can just stay and turn on your camera and talk to him if you like. So right now we're having a break until 4:45 for our next session. And let me pass the mic to our next MC, Fiona. Yep. And our next section will be, let me check. Building a self-service internal developer system platform with CDK and Terraform and TypeScript. So that will be our next talk. And after that, we have a lightning talk. So do we still have space for lightning talk? So if you have, you can still sign up for lightning talk. That means like if you have joined us and if you like anything you want to share, it doesn't have to be English. 如果今日玩得開心嘅，其實最尾我哋有個 lightning talk 嘅，你可以 join 入嚟一齊傾偈嘅。咁好似仲有少少位，你可以上去我 schedule 做 sign up， 然後有個5分鐘嘅一個 sharing section， 可以同大家講一講你想分享嘅嘢嘅。咁另外我哋仲有個 survey form， 你麻煩大家填一填。咁係啦，我哋麻煩 the survey form code please。